In a jaw-dropping courtroom moment, federal prosecutors labeled Diddy a criminal mastermind, stunning the packed gallery. The trial, already filled with tension, took a sharp turn as previously sealed evidence was unboxed before the jury. Gasps rippled through the crowd. This was no longer about speculation. The feds had come armed, and they weren't pulling punches.
40 bottles of baby oil and Astroglide all together, and mind you, this is only out of one house, and they got a total of 1,000 bottles from all of the houses. This box right here is the box that Diddy would keep his green stuff in. This is not the wooden box that you heard the Homeland Security agent talk about. That box is actually right here, and this is what contained a numerous amount of different illegal substances. The fact that Diddy had liquid MDMA and liquid METH is crazy. This is how you know this man does not care. He literally had some of this stuff just laying out in the open right next to a $100 bill. Substances on different things. This is the Gucci bag that had a whole bunch of more substances in it that Diddy is trying to say is somebody else's. He had the Homeland Security agent look at a photo that was not shown to the public or other people that were in the courtroom, only to the jury. And he's basically doing this trying to say that somebody else was obviously in a photo with this Gucci bag. This right here is Golden Teachers, and it is a pill form of mushrooms. Diddy had so many weapons with the serial numbers shaved off of them that it was crazy. Like, he had these ones wrapped in a towel. These parts were found in his closet. This one was in a suitcase. Diddy's argument to the Homeland Security agent was really, don't you have weapons in your home? Well, duh, he's an agent, but I'm sure he doesn't have weapons that have shaved serial numbers. He had a whole bunch of 7-inch high heels, and I'm sorry, I'm confused. What girls are coming over to your house without shoes on? Also, things like toys and rope, that vital honey that helps you stay performing. Here's another drawer that was filled with outfits and toys. These are the boots sitting next to Diddy's shoes, where he would have 3 cell phones hidden inside these boots. And I'm confused, like, why are you hiding cell phones in boots? I don't know if this is like a blackmail thing, if this is where he kept these freak off videos, or really what is going on. And last but not least, this is a picture of Diddy's bathroom where he has messages wrote on his mirror with lipstick. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of creepy because these messages don't make sense. I want to know, is Diddy writing this to himself on his mirror in his bathroom? In marker it says, what do you want? And then it says, love you, love Diddy. And then it says, you're a legend. I can't tell what this says, but then it says Team Puff Daddy.
Prosecutors revealed an alleged web of payoffs, threats, and hush money dating back over a decade. Screenshots, voice notes, and financial records painted a picture of systemic cover-ups. The prosecution claimed Diddy maintained control through fear and manipulation. Every word felt like a nail in the coffin, and the courtroom could sense it. This wasn't just a trial, it was a reckoning.
Not baby oil, it's GHB. Who has 1,000 bottles of baby oil? If baby oil was such a big part of all these parties and all the things that Diddy did to his victims, some celebrities would have made a joke about it here and there. We would have heard about it. Especially Chrissy Teigen couldn't be paid to shut her mouth. That bitch would have cracked a joke about it, for sure. I just watched this man's TikTok about how it's not a baby oil, it has to be laced with drugs. So as I'm reading the comments, someone said that's why Jaguar Wright said in one of her interviews at the end, she said blink twice. Blink Twice was a movie with Channing Tatum. He would spray perfume onto women who would make them forget everything. So then somebody else in the comments said, yeah, and GHB is slippery. So I look up, what is it called on the street? Look at the last one, liquid ecstasy. Side effects that include seizures and comas. It was taken off the shelves or something in like the 60s. What is GHB used for in bodybuilding? Performance enhancement additive. What are the positive side effects of GHB? Feelings of euphoria. What is GHB for parents? Usually available as a clear liquid. It's not baby oil. It just makes sense because why would the feds confiscate oil? And how do you get so many people to comply besides money? You drug them.
Caught off guard, Diddy's legal team scrambled to regain control. Lead attorney Marcus Boyd tried objecting, but the judge overruled, citing public interest and sufficient merit. Tension crackled as the jury leaned in. The defense looked fractured, unsure how to refute the mountain of claims without spiraling deeper. It was the worst-case scenario unfolding in real time.
There are actually 2 charges that fall under the RICO charge that Diddy might be found guilty of just based on Kid Cudi. Government alleged in the early morning hours of December 22nd, 2011, the defendant and a co-conspirator kidnapped an individual at Pow Pow Point to facilitate a break-in and entering into the residence of another person called Individual 1. Multiple witnesses would testify at trial to the events surrounding the kidnapping and the break-in. They are also corroborated by police reports and other records. Approximately 2 weeks later, the defendant's co-conspirators set fire to Individual 1's vehicle by slicing open the car's convertible top. Police and fire department reports extensively document the arson and conclude that the fire was intentionally set. Now, under Diddy's big RICO charge, some of the allegations that fall underneath of it are arson and kidnapping. And just to remind you, to be found guilty of the RICO charge, you only have to prove 2 allegations in total. There are a lot more than 2 that fall under Diddy's RICO charge. And this is a big thing that I've seen people so confused about. Where is the RICO? Every single testimony you hear where they bring up security, assistance, and more, that is your RICO. They are alleging that Diddy used co-conspirators in a lot of different illegal activities, which would make it a criminal enterprise, hence RICO charges. Just like with this stuff with Kid Cudi, where they say Diddy and his co-conspirators, or just the co-conspirators themselves. Now, another crazy thing that I found out, they also plan to use a 911 call that somebody placed when Kid Cudi's home was robbed. And we know his home was robbed on December 22nd of 2011. And we know how Cassie Ventura's mother testified today, and she was talking about how she sent Diddy $20,000 because Cassie sent her an email saying that Diddy was threatening her and Kid Cudi. Cassie Ventura sent this email to her mom one day after Kid Cudi's house was broken into on December 23rd of 2011. And she said, "Threats have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs that he is going to release 2 tapes of me. One on Christmas Day, maybe, or right after, or another one sometime soon after that. He also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Kid Cudi physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happens, hence by a co-conspirator." We know 2 weeks after this incident is when Kid Cudi's car would get blown.
The shock intensified when a former associate, previously loyal to Diddy, flipped. Taking the stand with a shaking voice, the witness detailed clandestine meetings and coded communications. "He didn't ask, you just knew what to do," the witness said. Each testimony added a layer to the twisted plot, revealing a hidden world behind Diddy's glittering empire.
For his mom, which the defense didn't want to hear from. And a lot of people thought, I wonder why she's testifying. Would it be gratuitous in some way? Would she move the needle in either direction? But she talked about being scared for her daughter's safety and this $20,000 loan. What happened?
So let me get to that in a second, but first I want to read you an email that was shown to the jury as an exhibit in court. This is an email that Cassie sent to her mother and Capricorn Clark, who was one of Diddy's employees.
Under an alias, right?
Under an alias, and yes, here's what she wrote. "The threats that have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release 2 explicit sex tapes of me. One on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another sometime soon after that. He also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Muscudi, you said, Kid Cudi, physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happened." So Cassie's mom testifies on the stand. When she read this email, she was physically ill. And of course she would be. This is her daughter. She's scared for her life. So then she said that Diddy demanded that she pay $20,000, as you said, because He was upset that Cassie was with another man, that would be Kid Cudi, and he said, I spent $20,000 on your daughter, so you better pay it back. Now you have Diddy, who at one point was a billionaire, but at this point at least is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and is allowing the mother of his girlfriend to take out a home equity loan to wire the money. He accepted that money, but then he sent it back. Now I want to bring up one more exhibit. There are photos of Cassie with bruises on her body that were shown to the jury.
News of the courtroom bombshell spread like wildfire online. Hashtags like Diddy Trial and Industry Unmasked began trending worldwide. Celebrities stayed silent, but fans and critics debated fiercely. Was this finally justice or another media-driven takedown? Outside the courthouse, protesters gathered, some supporting Diddy, others demanding accountability. The trial had become more than legal drama. It was a cultural earthquake.
How you feel about Diddy's appearance in court? They saying that he got all gray hair, his facial hair, his hair is all gray. He got a gray sweater on. Like, how you feel about his appearance?
Well, first of all, he can't use that stuff in court. He can't get that behind bars. So his appearance, you think Diddy wants somebody to see him looking like an old man? He can't do nothing about that because they're not gonna let him dye his hair in jail. So he's going out as natural. He could cut his hair low. You understand what I'm saying? But he can't use any dye. They're not gonna give him no dye to take or dye his hair. That's not a choice. That's something that he has to do. And him throwing signs of the heart and everything like that back to his family and stuff, I don't believe the jurors, like that or even care about that.
Yeah, they reported that he got a Bible with him, like he's reading the Bible during trial.
All that is a front, bro. What happens is that the defense is trying to have him distract himself. So they know it's a possibility that he might break on somebody, break down, or do something. So what they're trying to do, well, read over this, look over this. You understand? So they don't show the real you. Because once the jury find out that's the real him, and he is capable not only beating and threatening somebody and making them have sex, making them go to this place, that place, all over to have sex, then that's when the trafficking part comes in. That's when what she said about him having the guns to go get Suge Knight makes it true, makes it him possessing guns or being able to possess guns being truthful. So when they see all that and all that comes about, that's what's gonna make him get convicted, because they're gonna see his true self.
Despite the chaos, Diddy remained stone-faced. His silence became its own weapon, interpreted by some as arrogance and by others as strategy. No social media updates, no press conferences, just sharp suits, long stares, and whispered huddles with his lawyers. Was he plotting a comeback? Or was this the end of the mogul once untouchable?
How you feel about Diddy daughters leaving the trial when Cassie started to testify about all the sexual acts that she engaged in with their dad?
I believe that his daughters had no business up in that courtroom. And I know that they want the jurors to see that he has a family, he has that moral support from them. But see, the prosecution and the defense, especially the defense, had already told Diddy how they was gonna go, because they know their game plans. They know what they're gonna go at and what they're gonna talk about. And they know they was gonna bring those things up. And how dare you have your daughters in there? Maybe that would be their deterrent for never to let somebody do them like that. No matter how famous they want to be. Maybe that's their deterrent. But for have your kids up there to hear some of the nasty shit that you did, and they know you used to fight their mother, they know that you used to do certain things with their mother, That was one of the craziest moves I ever seen. Very selfish. Very selfish. I don't want my daughters to hear me, how they talk about this girl, talking about how I beat her, how I did this, pee in her mouth, all this. Nah. I heard it was so disgusting that one time they had to walk out.
Just as the courtroom seemed to settle, the prosecution hinted at a bigger name involved. The judge called for recess, but the implication sent shockwaves through the audience. Could someone even higher up be linked? The Diddy trial had taken another turn, and now no one was safe. The industry held its breath for what's next.